Okay, so this is a picture that Donna Crystal submitted that I had another way of teaching her how to work with this, and it has to do with a straight and a crop and a selection to change and swap out the background. Um, so I'm going to open this image up in Photoshop Elements, and if you notice here, I also, if I go up above to Window in my Photoshop Elements screen, and you click on Window, these four things should be checked: Tools, History. Donna, we didn't do that the other day, and that I'm sorry, we forgot about that. Layers and the panel bin, they should all be set there. So click out of that. Notice here is my history right here on this little window. I can move it around, and I'm going to make sure my layers are up here because I'm going to have layers active down here. Notice this is lit up in blue on the bottom right. So I would have layers is going to come up here. So the first thing I'm going to do is going to bring the image in. So I'm going to go to File, Open, and I'm going to go to where I store my pictures, and I'm going to go to this working file, which is, there's the original. Okay, and bang. Now, what we want to do is first look at this picture before we go any further and realize what needs to happen here to make this work. My feeling was leave the boots in because I like the boots and I like the texture of the boots and the soles. So, and then for the boot to have appropriate context, the bar has to be left in. But the heel and everything below this bar can come out. And we just want to focus on her. I don't want this little kid. You could choose to put the little kid in, but I don't want the kid in. And make an interesting street shot by leaving him in, but taking this guy out. But for purposes of this demo, we're going to take eventually everything out except the subject, her boots, and the bars. And we're going to use two different techniques. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to straighten first. I always straighten first. So I'll go here to, and we're doing this in advanced mode. If you do it in guided, it goes back and forth. You got to find the right guide, the right box, special edits, basic. Then when you do something, you got to go back and do next and revert. I am going to teach you how to just do this a lot easier all in one place, watching the history. So what we're going to do now is we're going to straighten first. If I go down here on my toolbar on the left, and I hover and leave the mouse alone, don't click on it, it says straighten tool. It tells me what the tool is. Now that I know I have the straighten tool, I want to make sure on the bottom I have autofill edges is checked. Rotate all layers. And now what I'm going to do is I have my straighten tool selected right over here. And I'm going to click my mouse. I'm going to find a straight line, straightest line that's clean. This is a little blurred, this line, so I'm going to tend to use this. There's a crosshair, and you go put the center of the crosshair right on the top of the white line. Click and hold. Now I've clicked and I'm holding, I'm dragging, and it creates a line. See the line? Okay, the line is going to come right. That to me is straight right there, and now I'm going to release everything and watch. And the sides where you see the transparency quickly come up, goes away. All right, watch that again. I'm going to go back one step back. Watch how I do this. Go back here to open. Okay, just go back one step on the history. Then you're going to go back, select your tool for straighten. Make sure these two boxes are checked. Click your crosshair on the top and come all the way down. Now, when I release this, you're going to see a quick transparent edge, because when I turn it, it's got to fill in those pixels on the transparent side. It does that through content aware. So yeah, it's kind of a form of AI, but they always called it content aware. So I'm going to release. Now watch the transparent pixels right there on the bottom, and they went away. All right, so now I've got it straight. Now I want to crop it. I go to the crop tool, which is right there, and I click on it. And now the tools come up on the bottom. I want to make sure it says no restriction. If it does, go over here, the chevron, and move around till you find the no restriction. because I want to take out that which has no value. All right, and it gave me a suggested crop, and I don't like that suggested crop because I want to go down here. I want her boots in. So I only work with the little dots on the outside. They're hard to see here on his shirt. This one's easy to find, that one's not. So I'm going to go up here and I'm going to pull this down to the middle of the white bar because I want part of the white bar in for context, for environmental context. Otherwise, it looks like our boots are floating in space on what? So now we know she's on a bar. I want to pull the top down to the top of her hat because I don't want to have to fix or make anything else go away. I don't want anything else up there. And I'm going to go all the way here, right up against her leg, right about there. And I'm going to leave a little his arm in, leave this kid in, leave it around. And I'm going to select this, move it around till the arrow lights up. See how there's no arrow here? This, it's a little chevron, it's the mouse. Now I get the left and right sided arrow. Move it right in here to her elbow. And then I've got all four sides the way I want. I click OK. Now, my workflow is such where I always work with the subject. I find what I want to be the subject. I don't want any of this. I don't want this. That's background. I don't want this. But I do want all of this and her glasses and her hat. So I'm going to now go to my select tool. Wait till you see it light up to make sure you get the right tool. Click on that. And when you come down here on the bottom, the mouse is almost too tiny to work with, so I got to move the mouse up a little bit. And you'll see the dot come, depending upon the version you have. That's how big that is now. So I'm going to start there. I'm actually going to start a little bit bigger. Make sure sample all layers is checked. Okay. It won't matter on this image, but other images, if you leave it checked, it will help when you go move forward. And I'm going to select the subject. Even though I want to work with the background, I'm going to select the subject. I select the subject and it's going to give me that window. And yes, I want to continue and discard the thing. Now it picked out what it wants me to pick out. It's made the decision, but it made a bad decision because it left her boots out. It left part of this out. It left this guy's face in. So now I have to adjust. How do I adjust? You go down here, there's an add on the bottom left, and there's a subtract. Okay. So in this case, we're going to do the adds. What didn't it give me in the subject? So I'm going to make sure I'm on add. And I'm going to make sure the sample all layers is checked. And I'm going to use my mouse over here. And I want all of this in. I want the marching ants to keep this bottom part in. But not that. We're going to take that out. And then I don't want this. And I don't want that. So here we go. So now we're going to go take away that which we don't want. I can't see clearly. So I'm going to either tell you to use your zoom tool up over here. And when I do that, it allows me to zoom. But it's a pain in the neck going back and forth to do that. Go back to my select tool because that's where I was. And then what I'm going to do is on my PC, Command and the bracket, Command plus or Command minus. If I hold the Command key down and I do plus up on top, it's going to blow it up more. If I do minus while I'm holding the Command key down, it goes back. I don't know what it is on PC. I have to find out. So where I am is I am looking to clarify my subject. I do not want him in here. So I'm on subtract. Subtract him from my subject. I don't want him. So I'm just going to go down here and I don't want that sleeve of that guy, the shoulder in that guy. And now I'm close. I don't want this little bit in here, the black. Okay, I think it took it out. Yep. Because I noticed the marching ants are only inside. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to blow it up even more. The better your selection is, the less work you have to do to fix. So I'm going to really come in, and this is what I would advise all of you to do. It's picking out the subject. What didn't it get? Well, according to this, and I'm reducing my mouse size, if I'm on add, notice these marching ants here, it was going to leave this out. I want that in. I want her glasses in. Little clicks, because when you get to the finer edges, short little clicks work. Now, let's say that I clicked and it included this part out here and it was a mistake. Watch in your history, just go back up one, click on the next one right before it, and I'm back to what I wanted. It's undo and redo at any point until you save it. I can use this history thing to go back, or I can come down here and do undo and redo. But I prefer to just jump over here and go back to where I wanted to go back, and that'll come in handy later. I do not want this in my subject right here, but it's including it. So I'm going to go back here. And that's going to change it to a minus, one little click at a time, giving it a chance to find the edge. It's not clean here. Now it's clean. And I do one click at a time because if I do a lot of clicks, you can hold the mouse down and hold it, but then you're going to have to undo a lot more if you make the mistake. I notice I'm going to go back here to add because it left this out. So watch, little clicks. Notice what it did here. Notice it went up here and picked this up right here. I don't want this in here, so I have to go back to subtract. And I'm going to do little clicks and take that block out here. It's a part of a fence. One more, get it clean. There it is. Now notice there's not a nice edge here. So I'm going to go back to add and I'm going to try to see if it's just going to let me touch. Not quite, but almost. We can fix that later in post. Notice if I blow up even more, this edge isn't as clean as I'd like right here. Right here, it's got part of the flannel shirt in. So I'm going to click minus. I don't want his flannel shirt mixing in with my subject. Now it took away a little of the shirt, which I don't like. So I'm going to go back to add. This is where the time stuff is. So when you decide to swap out a background and you're committed to the picture, get it right because people pick up the mistakes very quickly. And then they'll know for that. You've got to edit where the mistakes are not visible. Look up here. This is a mess. So what I want to do, and that's because the computer couldn't differentiate between the contrast between the hat and the white. And that's when it has trouble. So I want to detract. I want to take that out of my subject. I don't want this to come out. So I'm going to click until I get it close to the brim of the hat. I want to get that hat as straight as I can make it. A little more. A little more. One little tiny click there. Let's see what it does. Kind of got it. I'll have to clean it up later. And take a little of this out right there. That's a little better edge. I'm sliding down, I'm looking. I don't want this in. I'm still on the minus. Little edge right there. It finds, you've got to watch the little tiny edges. I could get picky here and put a little bit more of this white in. And that's, again, contrast that doesn't find it. So I'm going to make my mouse very, very small. And I'm going to say, okay, let's see if it can find this. One click at a time. Otherwise, it'll get too aggressive. It'll go into that brown background. A little bit more on that edge right there. Now, here it went into the brown background. So now I'm going to go back and I'm going to just subtract with one touch right there and see if I can do it. A little more. All right, so we're close there. and I'm scrolling around. Her face is not quite clean right here. So I want to be minus because I don't want this guy's hat bleeding into her face. I want a little bit better of an edge on her face, which we're going to fix later anyway. It's got flannel shirt right in it here. Click this out. Click that out. I'm in subtract. Okay, I don't want the flannel shirt in here, and I don't want this in here. It's another mistake. That's clean. And then what did I get in here? Did I get most things in here I want? Okay. I do not want this in. This is an area that's tough. I might make this a little cleaner by just leaving this piece here. So I'm going to subtract this. And maybe I'm going to add a little bit back up to the black edge. So I'm going to hit plus. This is where you have the decision to make about what you're going to wind up cleaning up later. Just being a little stubborn about finding what I want. Nah, I'm going to subtract again. Oh, that was a little closer. See if we can get it to go up to the black edge there. Because there's contrast there. Maybe you can pick that up. All right, and add, and this, it's because it can't quite see it. I'm adding back. Mine, I still have it in the subtract mode. Add back. Think of my fault. All right, that's pretty good right there because I can use this and take this out with a remove tool later. And I do not want this in here. So I am going to go to subtract that. This is where the time is. And then I'm going to not want this. So I'm going to click. That's better there. And I'm going to add that piece of the lace back in here. Little clicks. Slow and steady. Small mouse, because you're asking it to really discern a small area. Everything else in here we can fix. So I'm going to take a look at this and go back out and see what it looks like now. I see the marching ants clearly defining the figure. The kid is cut out. The glasses are in. The hat looks pretty decent. It's pretty good all the way around here. This is a little rough spot, but we'll clean that up later. And it took this out here, so it's only got inside here. This is all good. All right, so now what are we going to do? We want to change the background. Okay, if you want to change the background, what we have selected now is the subject. So we want to invert that mask so it changes and picks everything else out except the subject. And in order for that to happen, you go up here to select and you go to inverse. Go to the select menu up on top, click inverse, click it. And now notice the mouse ants, the marching ants are on the outside, marking all this as background. But notice what it did here. It also picked this up as background. We want this in the picture. So that's a mistake. So what I have to do is go back to my add thing because I don't want it to take this out. I still.
Brenda Lloyd, FaceTime video.
All right, hang on. I'm sorry, I want to subtract this. I'm going to pause the recording for a minute since I had that call come in. All right. So now I believe we are cleaned up. I'm going to pause the video for a second, if I can. How are you?
Dad,
I'm sure. It was overwhelming. Was it a success?
it was beautiful,
That's great.
just beautiful.
You got your red top on, huh?
Slept in my dress last night in the recliner chair.
That's what I was gonna ask you. Did you sleep in it? Funny. Nice jewelry though.
Oh. I didn't even take my jewelry off.
The kids all happy with the decorations and everything that worked out with the flowers and the setup?
Yes,
Did you have to be inside or outside?
we were outside for the wedding and it was beautiful.
I had a
Just
feeling. I was watching it.
beautiful.
Yeah, I was thinking you got away with it.
We did. And it was like 20 feet from the intercoastal. So that was all in the background. Big ships were coming in because they were making the turn to go into port at Wilmington. So these big freighters were making turns, right out in front of us. So it was absolutely gorgeous. These huge oak trees overhead.
How did things go with the kids and Mike?
I'll tell you about it later.
Okay. Ongoing, huh?
Big time.
Wow. Okay. All that matters, Kate and Devin were happy.
He is the sweetest guy. When they were exchanging their pledges to each other, he had a wonderful long pledge to Kate. And Kate had this big smile on her face the whole time. When she was reading her pledge to him, which was the story of their meeting and everything, his eyes watered up. I thought he was going to lose it. He fought it for dear life to keep them, tears coming down. But you could see the eyes watered up. He's got the biggest, kindest heart.
God, we're gonna like this guy. That's great. That's great.
And the whole family was there, all the boys, and it turned out beautiful. It was really, really pretty.
So it was good family time. No problems with Bob or Lonnie?
No problems with Lonnie. He was kind of a wallflower. He's not real sociable, And Bob he was twilighting.
Okay.
So he didn't recognize Lisa. He didn't know who I was.
Well, that was good.
I had to sit fairly close to him in the front row. And I talked to Barbara and I said, how's he doing? And she said, this is a really bad time of the day because he twilights.
Always
And,
is. With Alzheimer's in the
yeah.
late afternoon, yeah, bad.
So he sat there, he had some hors d'oeuvres, and then he said, I want to go home.
Yeah.
So Mike drove them. This is only 10 minutes away.
Right.
And he drove them back home and got him in because he takes little tiny shuffling steps. And he's on a cane. He will not use the walker, and Barbara says he's falls. So, but
All right.
But when he's alert, his mind is really good.
Okay.
It's just the twilighting,
Yeah. Yeah, I got it. I don't know.
Monkey.
We watched it. We watched it so often with so many of them. Lucille, Deb's father. Yeah. So you're leaving today?
There's a huge line
Well,
of violent thunderstorms.
That's
going
why I'm
on.
asking. Are you leaving today or tomorrow?
I'm going to wait because it looks like it's going to dissipate itself. Give me a break to get through it.
So you're still planning on leaving later today?
Yeah, I'm going to leave about 10:30.
Okay. And
Poor Lisa's still in bed. We were so crippled, I couldn't make it up the stairs. She barely made it up the stairs. She walked in and she just said, she threw everything on the floor and she says, I'm gone. I mean, we worked our ass off. I worked right up until 10 minutes before people arrived. Got it all done, but it was by the skin of our teeth.
but you did. Did you take pictures?
I took pictures of the ceremony.
Okay.
And I didn't even take a picture of what the tables looked like inside. They were beautiful. Jackie brought chargers. We had all gold chargers on fully cream
Did
tablecloths.
anybody take pictures of the tables and things? Professional photographer?
Oh yeah,
Okay,
they
good.
had a great professional photographer.
Okay, so we'll see some of that later. Good.
Yeah, a whole bunch of gay girls, gay police officers, and military, and the photographer. I
Wow.
still can't figure out if it was a girl or a boy. Not sure.
Yeah.
It was really nice.
Artwork. Okay. And everybody was comfortable with that.
Oh yeah,
Good.
no problem. And the only holdback was parking. There was non-existent parking. I had my old handicap tag from Colorado. I just turned it backwards and hung it up on the window, and we put it in the handicap parking lot.
Yeah. Good move.
So, but I mean, the guys put together these big arches and draped gauze over it and lights on it, and I mean, it was a lot of stuff. And Kate didn't get there until it was like 3 o'clock, and she had all the burlap ribbon that I was supposed to do the chairs with. So I couldn't even start to do that.
Wow.
We had the tables all set up first.
And but everybody really liked the decorations.
Oh yeah,
Good.
it was really, really fun.
That was all good. And Jackie and the boys and the rest of Devon's family, nice.
Oh yeah.
Good.
Oh, I had the cutest thing happen. The one single brother, Hunter, he's kind of my favorite because he's kind of like the wild child. He said, after I talked to you at the bridal shower, he said, I decided there might be something to the skiing thing. So I went up to App State and rented a pair of skis, and he said, I didn't fall. I said, well, you were not skiing hard enough, honey. Anyway, so we had a great conversation and a big hug, and he says, I think I like this sport. I think I'm going to go back and do it again.
That's fun. That's great. And are the kids leaving today? Mike and everybody who's staying? Is Mike staying with Sandy for a little while?
No, they're all going back. Everybody's got to go to work tomorrow.
Yeah. Sandy's staying though.
No, Sandy's been down for a week.
Oh, so Sandy's gone too. So everybody's splitting today. Okay.
Everybody's leaving.
Where's the honeymoon?
They're going on a cruise down to Mexico, Cancun, and Belize, and
Okay.
but they're not leaving until I think Tuesday.
Okay. All right. So that's all good.
And they had rented this beach house. It was humongous. So they had the rehearsal dinner there, and there must have been 50 people there. I mean, it was just enormous. And Jackie prepared all the food. She made it ahead of time. And her friends, the girls, they were amazing. They're just there, jump right in. They worked with her before, setting up parties and all. And I said, can I help? And they said, no, we got it. We knew exactly what to do.
That's great. So I'm glad I got a little worried about you driving back in that because I saw the storm patterns, but
Ugly line. We're in the tornado watch right now.
wow. Well, I have Doris that I'm doing a Zoom with now. I'm taking care of all my IOUs with, I promised these individuals. I had Donna over here yesterday, Crystal, and I'm doing a video right now on Zoom. I'm doing my own Zoom video so that I can give her what we did. And then I have Doris coming over at doing a Zoom with me at 10:30. She's not coming by. And then from there, I will probably go to the gym.
Okay.
So I will touch base with you on the road. Okay.
Okay.
And Give me a call when, or a text when you're starting your drive,
Okay,
so I can time it around whatever's going on in the gym, okay?
Okay.
Did you get the pictures I sent you?
yes, beautiful.
They're interesting, aren't they?
I love the horse.
Do you? I wasn't sure. That was my best one.
I like the horse.
I've been really working on which works with what. Yeah.
Right,
I think the horse came out really nice though.
I think so.
So that's it. So I'm creating the backgrounds, but I'm swapping out backgrounds with my own pictures. And fuck them. So, all right, I gotta run because I gotta get this done before I have to zoom in with put some
Okay.
clothes on. So I will,
No problem.
I'm glad it was, I'm glad you were outside. I'm glad everything went well.
Oh, it did. It was right down to the last minute and everything clicked. It was like amazing. It all worked.
Home run. That's great.
Yeah. So I'll show you, I took lots of cell phone pictures, so.
All right, good.
Well,
Well,
when I
we'll,
get home, well, tomorrow.
well, what'll happen is when I get home, I'm gonna show you how to airdrop them on your new toy.
Oh,
and
okay.
Put them right in Lightroom. It's kind of cool. All right, sweetie.
Okay, sweetie.
I'll talk to you later. All
Got it.
right, bye.
Bye.
Okay, hopefully this is still working because we had a little pause in here with a phone call. So, all right, so where this is right now is we've got the background there where we want it, and we have two ways to do this. We can either paint the background out with a paintbrush and a color, or we can turn around and put a Gaussian blur on it, which in the end is what I would prefer with this picture. But for now, we're going to try the paintbrush. So in order to do the paintbrush, this box here, do not click in the middle of the box. See, it says set foreground color when I light it up on the left. If I click on this box, I'm going to get a choice of colors, and I would then pick a color. And if I pick one, for example, there, and I pick that, watch what happens over here to the color on the foreground. I'm going to click OK. And now it turned to red, which means I'd be painting with red. I don't want to do that. There is a natural default that is right up here. You click on this little box outside underneath the bottom left corner. It says default foreground and background. Go to default. Now, the only problem is I want to paint a white background. And right now, because the black is on top, the black is what it's going to paint. So I'm going to go paint white because I think it looks better. I'm going to flip this with the arrow, flip it. Now the white's on top. I select the brush tool, move my mouse over until I get it, wait to make sure I got a brush tool. There's another brush up here, which is a smart brush tool. I'm not telling you to use that right now. I'm telling you to use the brush tool. Click on it. Okay, and now I'm going to paint with my brush white. And here we go. And when you have a selection, which is why we did the selection, when you paint, it will only paint the selected area, regardless of where you drag your mouse. So notice now it's painting, and I might want to make the mouse bigger because I can be very sloppy with this. Okay. And notice I'm right in her face, but it's not going to paint there. It's only going to paint and fill in the color that I set. There you go. And now we have her done. And she's all picked up in the background, only in white. So now how do I adjust it from here? I'm going to move this mouse size down because the mouse is really pretty big now. All right. I am going to continue to use the white paintbrush to pick up these little areas where it's a little like here, some areas not quite done right. So to close this out and finish it, I'm going to continue to use my brush. I'm going to continue to paint in white, but now I don't want to be restricted to just the background. So I'm going to deselect. I've got the background the way I want it. Go to select, click on it, and click deselect. And there is my picture. And when I blow the picture up a little bit, it's got a little bit of funky stuff where the outline was of his shirt that was there. So I got white. I got my brush selected. And here's a deselect. Notice all the steps have been listed here. I'm just going to run this white paint brush right down here. Look, I'm cleaning. And I want to clean this up. Going to make a small brush here. And I want a straighter edge here. So I'm going to do this. Little bits. Now, if I make a mistake and I do this, mistake. I can go down here and hit undo on the bottom, or I can simply go back to the history and go up one and click the one above it and do it again. So I would prefer to use that. And here is a straight edge. And again, you can make your brush side, you can make your brush a harder edge or a softer edge. Don't really like that. Still didn't get it right. A little bit at a time, so you don't have to go back a step and replace everything all in one big long corrective swoop. All right, so we'll do that. Her face looks pretty good here, but there's a couple of little blotches right here, so I'm going to move just back and forth ever so slightly to clean up the edges of her face. And I'm going to clean up the edges of the hat. Little by little. Now I'm going to let the mouse go, and I'm going to take another section because I don't want to have to go backwards in the history panel and redo a whole area. And maybe around the curve here. This is where the practice comes in. This is pretty good here. It's got a spot right here. Just move very carefully into the edge, slow and easy. When you're over aggressive, you'll be erasing and going back in the history panel over and over and over again. A little raggy right here. I'll just give it a little bit of a clean edge. A little cleaner here. Give or take. A little spot right here. I am just really cleaning. I don't like this edge right here. I'd like this edge to be a little softer. So I'm going to take that black edge off. Even if it blends in with the white a little bit, that's better for me. A little more here. And a little bit of cleanup right here. All right, and then I'm going to come back over here. There's a little bit of something right here. And I'll take that edge off there. That's because I'm very picky. All right, a little spot here, paint with white, because I turned the whole background white so it works. And I'd probably leave this alone. This I don't want to paint white because it isn't white. That's not part of the background. This I can make white because that will be painted right into, and it doesn't matter that I'm over. And I'll come down here. Whoops, mistake. Go over here to the history. Just go back one. And make the mouse really tiny to get in here. And maybe I'll clean this up. All right. Now, over here, if I painted this white, it would not look right because it shouldn't be white. It's not part of the background. So I'm going to go back up one in the history. And now I'm going to turn to my remove tool. Hover over it until you make sure that that's what you got. And overlap both sides a little bit bigger area than that which you want to remove. So I'll do that and I'll wait. That's gone. I could see what it would do with this if I wanted this to be more match up there. See, it's matching up with her lacy pants. Maybe get rid of that area right there. Somewhere in there. And I think we're pretty good. I might take this edge away right here. I'm using my remove tool to see what happens. Yeah, it's a softer edge. I'm just trying to see if it'll, yeah, that's a better edge there. So sometimes between the remove tool, you could take a little of this out. Let's see what it does. Doesn't matter one way or another. So now I'm going to bring it all the way back out. And there's your picture painted in white. I could do the same thing in black if I wanted to do it, but I like this picture quite a bit. But now I'm going to show you how to change this with the background with the Gaussian blur. So it's simple. Go to the history tool and scroll back either there or use the mouse over here to go back up. And where it says select inverse, still collection right before the brush. Okay, because I didn't start painting yet. So I've gone right to there and I've got what I want. And now, instead of doing anything else, I am going to go up here to filter. I'm just deleting the whole brush episode, going up here to blur. And then I'm going to go over here to Gaussian blur. And I'm going to set it very high. I set it to 190. It could be 182. Notice there's little marching ants here. So now what I have to do is fix here, but I can't fix the same way. So I'm going to click OK. And I'm going to deselect because I've got it the way I want it. Before I can fix, I have to deselect. So go to select, deselect. And there's the picture. And you can see I've got a little bit of an edge here. So now I'm going to start using my remove tool and see if that works first. I happen to be on that where I left off. So I'm going to do a little touch there, a little bit touch there. I'm going to see if I can take that out. I didn't like what happened with that. So I'm going to go back one. Let me look at that again. I'm going to leave that there because I didn't care what happened, but I'm going to take this out right here. A little bit bigger mouse. And I don't like this right here because I didn't select it. So I'm going to have to find it now that way. There it is. And if I blow it up, there's those imperfections. So I'm going to hit my remove tool on it. And it's going to make all that go away. And I'm going to hit my remove tool on this edge with a very, very small brush. I'm going to see if I can come right down and see if it'll clean it. It did. Look at that. Right around here. Just take a little bit of that off. Perfect. I could do the same thing over here. Let's see what it does. There's actually a better way to fix this, but I would fix it with the clone stamp. But that's a horse of a different color. There's a little spot right up here. So basically I fixed most of this. I'm gonna see if it gives me an edge right here. Yeah, a little cleaner edge. So if I go out now, I like this much better. By the way, notice mistake right here. Here it is. So if I blow this up, watch. Kind of, you can leave this because it kind of is part of her shadow underneath, but I'm still in the remove tool. So I'm just going to come up here. And I'm going to click this. And I'm going to click that. And I'm going to bring this in right here. I'm going to bring in a little bit more. All right, that's softer. Notice there's an area right here. You can't see this stuff unless you blow it up. Okay, a little better there. And now go back out. Now, there you go. And I like the Gaussian blur quite a bit. You could do a clone stamp. I'm going to do it very quickly. I'm going to blow this up here, and I would really prefer that this be like the lace, but you have to pick. Use your clone stamp tool to stamp. Run the mouse over on the left, click clone stamp, and then pick an area right next to that. About the mouse is about that size. I have to tell it where to pull the pixels from. I'm going to tell it to pull the pixels right from here. And I'm just clicking and clone stamping. I'm using my Option key. Option, hold it, click, release. And now it's going to hold those pixels back where they were. So if I go right here, I'm going to say, take these pixels, Option, click, let everything go, and now click away. And there. And now I'll go back here and bring these holes out further. You got the gist. Click again, pick another area. You can't keep moving. You have to keep coming back and pick areas close by that what you're trying to. And the opacity has to be up at 100% in order for this to really. And then maybe I want to take away that edge. So watch this. Go back to the remove tool and just run it along this edge and see what it does. There you go. Back out there. And that is your picture. And that is now done. Now you would save it. You can save it as, and I would call this, I'd give it a name, and it would be whatever the file number was, -GB, which is Gaussian blur, -1. And then I might save it as a Photoshop file, or again, if you want to resize it, you can save it as a JPEG, bring it back in again, and then resize it as you need to. But so that's basically it. I hope this works for you. Okay. Thanks. See if I can figure out how to shut this off now. I'm going to stop share. And I'm going to stop recording.